We all know that referees have one of the most precise jobs in the world, having to always be on the lookout and of course being in the center of the fight. Referees in boxing have one hell of a duty. They stay in the ring and pray to the gods that they don't get hit when trying to interfere and break a fight. However, getting hit in the ring doesn't really happen that often, surprisingly, considering the fact that they're only a few feet away from the boxers. But then again, it isn't impossible either. So, here are the top moments we've compiled for your entertainment. Here is when referees get knocked out. We'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and leave a like under this video to show your support. Be sure to drop a comment too, but let's get rolling. Mike Tyson. Some call him one of the most terrifying boxers in the industry. Why does he give off such a nerve-wracking vibe? Well, people say that he's very determined with his job, making him a very focused and ambitious boxer. So, can you imagine his rivals and the referees that would have to put up a fight with him in the ring? Would you believe it if I said that he's punched a referee before? Yes, the Mike Tyson, the boxer whom everyone fears. The referee was breaking up a fight between Tyson and his opponent when this happened. Even after the bell rang, Tyson kept continuously swinging punches at his opponent, which eventually led to his fist on the referee's face. Can you imagine the referee's inner thoughts when he saw Tyson's fist come in his way? He probably just accepted his fate because it only happened in a matter of seconds. Oh, and if you are wondering, yes, Mike Tyson won. HUGO CENTENO Jr. Once you throw a punch, it's meant to land. It's simple physics. But sometimes we just wish that a punch would never land, especially when it's racing towards you. HUGO CENTENO Jr. and his opponent were in the middle of a fight when HUGO decided to look down and swing a punch. Luckily, his opponent clearly dodged it. Unluckily, the referee, Mark Nelson, did not. That's when HUGO knew something was off, because the moment he raised his head, his opponent looked shocked, and the referee was clearly in pain. His punch landed right on the referee's Adam's apple, which isn't the best part of the body to be punched in. The two boxers looked at each other in disbelief, and at that moment, HUGO CENTENO Jr. probably prayed that he wouldn't get disqualified, though it was a heated moment. Looking back at it, it was more of a funny and embarrassing moment. The referee then grabbed a towel afterward, then he looked at the audience and smiled as if receiving hard punches from professional boxers is part of his daily routine. BADOU Jack. Poor referees getting punched all over the ring, whether it's an accident or not. But it's almost like they've already accepted it the moment they agreed to become a referee at boxing. BADOU swung a punch at his opponent, but just like every referee's worst nightmare, it landed on the wrong person. The referee gets knocked, but thankfully BADOU Jack was there to save him from the fall. From getting punched by BADOU to hugging him as an act of forgiveness. Now that's what you call maturity. I guess you could also call this situation an enemy to his knight in shining armor. Something straight out of a storybook. The referee honestly looked angry at first, but he composed himself quickly and continued doing his job and had a laugh with BADOU Jack. What a professional. Red boxer versus referee. People get angry and obviously that escalates and turns to another whole kind of fight. This was the case for the red boxer and referee. The red boxer was infuriated after the referee allegedly stole the fight from the red boxer, leading them to argue. However, the loss is a controversial topic with mixed opinions. Before the problem escalated, at that time, the blue boxer, which was the red boxer's opponent, was having a conversation with the referee. Suddenly, the red boxer, who had just come from the other side of the ring, started walking towards the two men. He said something inaudible to the referee, then threw a smacking punch. This took everyone by surprise. The referee got a few punches to his body before anyone was there to interfere. You might be wondering, where did the blue boxer go? Did he help? Well, to answer that question, no, he did not. So much for a professional, right? Instead of giving a helping hand, he decides to flee the scene and leave the ring. The red boxer was dragged by both of his legs, quite literally. He was pulled out of the ring. The referee, however, was curled up on the floor, probably contemplating his decisions. PEDRO CARDENAS. If you think hitting a referee once is already bad, wait until you hear about PEDRO CARDENAS. PEDRO CARDENAS and his opponent were having their fight at the edge of the ring when the referee got a little too close. Pedro accidentally swung the moment his opponent ducked, leading his fist on the referee's face. This poor referee was struck so hard by Cardenas that he collapsed to the floor and needed a substitute. The fight continued as usual, and rounds were rolling, just until another unfortunate event happened. The second referee was hit in the face too, and by the same person no less. If that isn't embarrassing for Cardenas and the referee, then I'm not sure what to really call it anymore. However, this time the substitute referee did not get knocked out. He was punched, that's for sure, but he luckily didn't fall unconscious to the floor. DILLIAN WHYTE. Even after the bell rang, they kept throwing punches. DILLIAN WHYTE and his opponent got into a bit of a heated fight, and you know what that leads to. The referee has got to get between them to put a stop to the situation. And just like every school fight, the third party who tries to interfere gets caught up in the problem. The referee was accidentally hit by White, and people started to circle in the ring. The group separated DILLIAN WHYTE and his opponent on opposite sides of the ring, and as for the referee, he was again by the middle of the ring. He was probably dizzy because the punch he received was one hell of a blow. IAGO KILAGDZE. Sometimes people can't accept their fate, even in sports. When these situations happen, anger obviously gets the best of the boxers and tries to put all the punches on the referees. Honestly, I'm starting to think that being a referee at boxing is the same as putting your life in danger. IAGO KILAGDZE began to complain about his situation, and of course one thing leads to another, and what I mean by that is he throws a hard punch on the referee's chin. However, the referee's reaction is definitely hilarious. Probably not hilarious for him since he got hit by a boxer, but to make the situation light, you could totally see his mouth forming a swift, shocked expression the moment he recovered from the hit. IAGO KILAGDZE, however, looked unfazed, and he definitely wanted to hit that referee based on his expression. He definitely received a punch to the gut when he heard that he just risked his whole career, because that punch was definitely not by accident. NIKITA ABABIY. For someone who's young in the boxing industry, NIKITA ABABIY is definitely someone whom you wouldn't want to mess with. NIKITA ABABIY was a young adult at the time when he knocked a referee down, but luckily he had some decency in him and decided to help the poor referee. He was probably in shock and genuinely felt sorry for hitting the ref, and that just shows how modest he is. It was an accident, of course, but the power NIKITA ABABIY had with his fist knocked the referee on his back. He looked like a superhero when his fist flew high up into the sky. What was hilarious was when the referee got back up and NIKITA ABABIY started panicking and was probably apologizing frantically, and he's a good sport for that. DAKUI. If we're talking about chances that could happen in 1 in a million, then here's a crazy boxing moment for you. Talk about killing two birds with one stone, because this is where things get literal, except for the killing. DAKUI knocks both his opponent and the referee. He knocks the opponent first, and unfortunately the referee had an awful outcome as he was in the middle. He didn't even knock the referee out with his gloves and fists. He hit the referee with one strike of his leg, and this led the referee to collapse to the ground. And if you're wondering if he won after this awful incident, no. Even though he nearly did, he was still disqualified after swinging on that poor ref. Zab Judah. This last one is definitely one hell of a confrontation. Zab Judah was knocked out by his opponent. He got up on his feet in disbelief and started dancing as if he was in a cartoon. His head was probably spinning like crazy, and you could tell just by looking at the way he stood back up. He looked like a newborn giraffe trying to learn how to walk. This, of course, made it clear who the winner was, and this didn't make Zab Judah happy. He began protesting against the final decision and started projecting his anger at the ref by placing his gloves on the referee's neck. A group of people were containing Zab Judah before he got out of hand, and honestly, props to them. But what do you guys think? Referees are definitely workers who we should be appreciating more. Not only do they have a good eye and work for justification in sports, but they also take punches, accident or not. And they do it like a champ. Being a referee is definitely one hell of a job, and boxers would have to hope that they don't lose their career after hitting them. Would you like to see more? If so, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel for the next boxing video. Until next time.